On the dot. I love it.
Timing.
Yeah, man.
Timing is everything.
That's perfect. Have we ever been on time?
I'm always on time. Isn't that a song?
It is.
All right. All right, here we go.
We'll have to play that song in the show.
Episode 15, Tom and Q Show. We're back, rocking it by ourselves. Not by choice. We love having guests on. Just pull this up on my phone. So if you have any questions, comments, or criticisms, you can send them our way via Facebook Live in the comment section. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. Here we are, May 6th, one day removed from Cinco
de Mayo. Yeah.
On top of that, you know what the day before was. You clearly know what it was.
Yes.
And it's quickly becoming one of my favorite. I like Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit of a Star Wars nerd.
Ah, okay. I'm not
I'm not huge. I think we had to talk about this.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen them all, right?
Yep.
And I kind of understand the story, so I guess that makes me kind of that Star Wars nerd. But May the 4th, like the first time I heard that.
And also with you.
Yes. May the 4th be with you. Like, yes, I'm quickly like, May the 4th.
Yes.
You know, like a stoner on 420. I'm like, it's May the 4th. So, welcome. Week 15. 15 weeks in a row. No wives have showed up. Clearly, Jessica had some type of excuse.
She had to wash her hair.
Wash her hair. She's got a lot of hair.
Yes.
I think at some point in the near future, somebody's going to end that streak.
Ooh.
Yep.
Bold.
Yeah, I think so. May not be our wives.
Right?
Maybe a guest and his spouse.
Ah,
Maybe.
I see where you're going.
Maybe. You never know. Could be something. Something to stay in tune for, right?
I like it. I like where you're going with that.
So, I had a pen here. There we go. Got it. So, other order of business. Email count last week, 158,254. If this is your first time listening to us, what this is my inability or lack thereof interest in deleting my emails since the beginning of time. So just give you a brief story. Internet was created 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago. You know, people were taught to come up with an email address. I, at that point, chose Yahoo. Right?
Okay.
So my email is a Yahoo email address. I get it attached to my phone, right? Also with my business email address, and as well as I have an iPhone, so I have an iPhone.
My sister still goes on her AOL account.
Which is amazing. That she's probably still using all the 30-minute free internet discs that she got. Alexa, stop. You remember those that come in the mail? It was like if you just kept those, you had internet forever.
Yes.
Like 30 free minutes. So anyway, Yahoo, and you know how on your iPhone or on your Android, your cell phone, whatever it is, on your home screen, it pops up like how many unread emails or whatever it is that you have. Now,
Right.
if you're a client of mine or you know me, I do answer your emails. I answer the important ones. But I've also reached the point of no return since probably the year 2000, 1999, whenever I had that Yahoo email address, that I no longer have the time to go back in time
Right.
and delete those emails at that time. So now they just keep spiraling out of control. So anyway, that's the story. So what do I have today?
Write that quote down. I no longer have time to go back in time.
No longer
That's deep, Tom.
time to go back
in time.
But really, this show is all about going back in time.
It's nostalgic. Yeah.
So if I don't have time for that,
Right.
this is a good segue into what we're going to talk about here shortly. So last week's email count was 158,254. If you kept a spreadsheet, you'd probably be looking at about 900, right? So this week, did that thing into me again.
Ah, so like we're like 15,000 now.
Yes, it's actually. I wish there was a way to changed that, but I don't know why. But sometimes Yahoo or sometimes that email, it changes that number. I did not delete them. Trust me, if you know my track record, I did not delete them. For whatever reason, there's a glitch, or that my home screen sees something else, but it is 16,453.
Oh, that's close.
Which is still way more than I guarantee anybody else out there
Yes.
has.
Yes.
So I'm going to put that number down, and you'll see next
So
week.
when your email count glitches, you got a
It's
problem.
bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's overload. Like
Right.
Yahoo. Like,
It's going to be funny going from this week to next week. Last week I had 16,000. This week I have 160,000.
like people get those notices like from Yahoo. Their email address is like, hey, you've been hacked. I don't get those. Go ahead. Do you want to look? You want to hack my email? If you could just delete them while you're in there,
Right.
that would be awesome.
Yes, you have full access to my emails.
so,
Get rid of them.
So, that's this week's count, which kind of stinks. I always look forward to what that kind of count is
Mhm.
because I love the amazement on your eyes, and we've done this every single time.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, you saw Richie last week when he was just like, and Coach Ayers, when we had him on the show, so the 2 times that we had guests on, they were taken back.
Yeah,
Jessica, I told Jessica when the first time you told me, she was just like, huh?
it's a,
So everyone I've told is their shock is real.
yes, it makes 0 sense. But I can't go back in time. It's the point of no return. So let's spin that wheel. Let's spin our White Oak Productions music wheel, and see where we end up.
1997.
It's a big year for me.
Yeah, country. There you go, man. It's right up your alley. Ooh, number 7.
All right, top 100
So White Oak Productions.
country
I don't know if you
songs.
guys can see. Got
Yes.
some White Oak Productions apparel on. It's got the logo on the back.
Beautiful new T-shirt.
So nice and soft. I love as soon as you gave it to me and I put it on, I was like, man, I like this. This is a shirt I can just wear it
They're comfortable.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's a great shirt.
So Tommy Watkins, White Oak Productions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the love and your contribution, and hopefully we wear it well.
And we'll have to get you on the show. I know
100%.
you'll be out there listening. Alexa. Why did I say Alexis? Alexa, play "This Ain't No Thinking Thing" by Trace Atkins.
All right.
Number 7, 1997.
It's a catchy little melody.
Yeah. Might be too loud. See, might turn it. It's a little loud. I'm gonna turn it down just a tad
Okay.
because the next few things are.
We just don't want to get the show muted once we take it over to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm beyond that. Don't really care even that much
Right.
anymore. I just want to be able to hear.
Us.
Because in my old age, I want to be able to know what we're talking about.
Jessica makes fun. Anytime there's background noise, she's got to repeat herself
Over and over.
100 times.
Like distracting.
And it's like the ongoing thing of, there's background noise and I can't hear you, right? So look at me and talk to me, and I can hear perfectly
I can read
fine.
lips.
So yeah, when she's having the conversation and she's looking over here talking, and I'm over there, it doesn't work.
Well, that's one thing too. Like face-to-face contact. Like even when there's distractions, like if you're in a public place right now and like say you have to wear a mask,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
there's no lip reading. There's a lot of what? Excuse me, please.
yeah. The days when you go to the bar or the club and the music's so loud. So when we're young 20s and somebody's
Yes.
talking to you, and you're just nodding your head,
Yeah.
you hear like every third word, like, oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
No idea what you're saying. Like it's like literally in your head, the voice in your head is like, no idea what they're saying. But yeah, that sounds awesome.
You're reacting to their body language.
So, you ever-
We can have a conversation. I'm just like,
so this happened to me yesterday. I was driving, and I've got the Bluetooth on, so like I'm having a conversation, and the person I'm having a conversation with, they're talking, and like I hit a dead spot, and lost the conversation for like 20 seconds or whatever.
yeah.
Like a long time. And like you come back and you drive through the dead spot and you get there and like that conversation's still going and you gotta follow it up with like, yep, no idea what you just said for the last 20
Great.
seconds.
How do you? Last word I heard you say was.
You can. There's that giant fork in the road, right?
Yeah.
You can say, hey man, I lost you for about the last 10, 15 seconds. What were you saying? Or if they're still talking, just like let them go. Like yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
sounds
point.
about right. And then you worry, like, what did I miss in that? What did I just commit to in this last 15 to 20
I
seconds.
literally just had that yesterday as well.
That's it.
I was just like, and when it came, it's same thing, man. That's so funny because they didn't stop talking the whole time, and they kept going. I was like, well, they were on a roll, man. Let's just keep rolling with this.
Must have been important, right?
Yes.
We won't name any names. We do a lot of phone conversations in general. But,
Yes.
So last week, just recapping a little bit. Last week was a lot of fun. We had Richie
agree.
Jones here, the Nacho Man. We provided him with local legends hat and some nachos. The ones kind of replaced the ones that he lost as he was chasing down the ball. But to hear his story and just how humble he was going back and really that 15 minutes of fame, right? Where it's like something that him and something that his son Colton will remember forever. I thought that was a really, really cool story.
That I could not agree more. When he was sharing the story, I was just kind of sitting back in the corner, and the question would pop in my head a couple times of just different things as he was going. But I was like, man, it's just the picture he painted with picking his son up from school, the big red, the big league shoe, taking his kid to a game. Like, I got caught in that picture of that father-son relationship, father-son going to the ball game together, hanging out, and it was just so, I don't know, it kind of gave me chills, man. I thought it was awesome to hear that part of the story, and then turn it into, a blunder, right? I don't want to use the word tragedy because it wasn't, but it was just the blunder that it turned into.
It could have happened to anybody.
Yes, and then the recovery of it, it was just
Well, what made
awesome.
more sense to me with him, with him going down, and I didn't think about it, was how the chairs were tied together. So that makes total sense. So you think that chair's going to go down? Oh no, you're going down. That chair's staying put.
Yes.
So I blame the chair. That's what I.
100%. I was talking to Weber. He touched in. He watched a show and asking for a recap, and we're recapping it again out loud. It's like, man, that was just a great event.
Yeah. So if you go on to, you can click on the link too. But I posted basically just that section this morning of him telling that story, so you can check it out. You can check it out there as well. But that was really cool. We had a ton of fun. Really appreciate him.
Thank you again, Richie.
Coming on. So let's hit it again. What do we got? This ain't no thinking thing.
94.
94.
We need some weight on this side of the board over here.
Sounds good to me.
Ooh, country again. Uh-oh.
Makes it simple on the old.
Tom weighted this thing again. Number 18, little Peyton Manning.
Who do we think it is? Top country songs, 1994, Billboard. Year end. Number 18. Alexa, play I Just Wanted You to Know by Mark Chestnut. Yeah. Going back to old school. So, show of the week. You got one?
I've watched a couple this week.
Okay.
I don't know. They're kind of weird. Outsiders on Hulu.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Little different.
I'm trying to. I think I've seen it. What's the guy's name?
He's from the Green Mile.
Is Jessica Biel in that?
No.
I think it's something else. Let me look it up.
So Outsider, it's a like Appalachian mountain people that live up in the mountains, and
I feel like I've seen
they're trying to do some dig into the hills and develop them, but the people that live in the woods are not allowing it, so they can't start construction until it's vacant up there. But the people are protecting their home turf, man, and it's it's a little different, man. It's a little different. So I was nervous if I wanted to talk about it because you watch it and you're like, what is this kind of stuff Quentin into? But unapologetically, man, I watch what I watch.
So, well, yeah, there's no reason to apologize because, when we're coming on here, like if I start a show, I'm gonna
finish it.
And
so Jessica and I, like 3 or 4 times, like, why are we still watching this? I'm like, I just want to see where it goes.
I haven't seen that. Okay. Now I just pulled it up. I'm gonna.
So it's on Hulu. So I don't know. You don't have. You got YouTube TV, right?
I've got YouTube TV. Actually, I have Hulu. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the answer to your question, no matter what you say, is going to be probably yes. Because one, we check out decent amount of shows.
Right.
I like to give feedback on them. Right. I'm still trying to finish up Queen of the South.
Okay.
So if you finished that already,
I have not.
okay, don't. But Outsiders, Appalachia, you're not sure. So it's good, even if it's bad. Like
Yes.
I watched. There was a show. There, like, people are gonna kill me for this because I've had a lot of people told me to watch it, and I watched it. And that's awful.
What's that?
And it's so bad. I'm looking up the title as we speak. It had the coach from Friday Night Lights in there. It was like the first season was. Like,
Netflix has a new scary one.
that's what I was looking to pull up. Was actually Netflix.
Man, look, we're brain dead today. I think Outsiders killed my brain watching it this week because it's.
What is that?
Yeah, the new scary one on Netflix. It's in their top 10. As seen before, so I can't remember. That's very anticlimactic. It ended, and it was, what was the point? Absolutely awful. So and we talked about it before, where they start off with like the ending, right? Then when the show starts off with like the pinnacle point of the show, and then it goes like 3 months earlier, which I think is just absolutely terrible writing to get someone's attention and then say, oh, by the way, here's where we started. Just start in a good spot and just be a better writer of what you're trying to deliver. And it did that, but we watched it and got to the end and was disappointed.
I will come up with the name of that show. Gosh darn. Again, we kind of spiral off into different directions because I was kind of thinking like, okay, you have The Outsiders and you're talking about Appalachia and Hulu, and then as we go, I'm like, Coach Taylor from Friday Night Lights. He was in the show. So if anybody is out there that could tell me what the name of that show is, that would be fantastic. I'll know it as soon as you say it.
You said it's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. They had 3 seasons, and literally, I don't want to spoil it. Well, I will spoil it because I thought it was terrible. I'm gonna find it before I do that, just so I can call it out.
All right, guys, bail us out.
I got it.
Okay.
So she is not here with us down here, but she has chimed in, and she's exactly right. That's what it was. Bloodline. Thank you, you sweet, sweet, sweet lady. Bloodline with Coach Taylor. So they have this hotel, bed and breakfast, kind of in this swampland, and they're talking about, or they're running it, right? And as their parents get older, and then there's some Coach Taylor, as we'll refer to him. He is the sheriff, right? And then his brother is shaky coming back into town, and then like just some crazy stuff happens, and then literally like the last season or whatever that they create, like I don't know if they thought there was going to be more seasons or whatever, but like it just ended. It was like over, and it wasn't over like we talked about. Yellowstone being over was like
yeah.
like, no, I want that to come back. It was over like, well, that was stupid. I feel like I just wasted so much time watching that show because I was really hooked after the first season, and then it was like really high, and then the second kind of just down, and the third was like they're gonna end it like that, like that's stupid.
Right.
Another show that I watched. This is years ago. We used to watch together with Nicole and I. The show Las Vegas. This was back when you had to DVR stuff or you had to catch it live.
Right.
Okay, talking about bad endings. So the show Las Vegas had James Caan was basically the casino. I forget what the name of the casino was called, but he ran the casino, and it was about all these people that were, these pretty people that were working around him and their lives and the casino, and it was a drama, and it was kind of funny,
right.
And so on and so forth. So we're watching, it was awesome, right? And like the last season, the last show, you didn't know it was the last season. Like somehow the mafia or mob like blew up their Vegas casino and hotel, like completely blew it up. Guess they're not coming back. I was like, what are they gonna do? It's like, what are they gonna do next year? And then it eventually did get canceled. It's like, hey, what happened, everybody?
It blew up, Tom.
They all dead? I don't know. What happened? Like, it's like, I hate shows with bad endings.
That's so funny.
So
I'm not a critic of anything, but I do pay attention to what captures my attention. So and it's always the writers, right? You get good actors and stuff that do the part, but at the end of the day, it's the writers. And you think of a scenario like that of where a writer's just writing and they're like, oh. And his wife's like, it's dinner time. He's like, oh, just blow it up. I'm done. Story's over.
It's over.
Like,
Mic drop, gotta go.
what happened in your life to just end it the way you did? Like, just you were late for an appointment. You just wrote out like, I just blow up the building.
So you're talking about Outsider. I kind of bring up Bloodline. So why we're kind of on shows that maybe we're not so sure about, right?
Yeah.
Worst movie you ever saw?
Oh man, that is a great on the spot question, buddy.
Yeah.
Worst movie I ever saw. Toxic Avenger or something like that. One of those
sounds pretty terrible.
Oh wow, I don't know.
Okay, so we thought this movie. It was back when you could rent movies, right? I think we rented that, or we bought it like from DirecTV. Whatever,
Right, rented it from Blockbuster.
Yes. So, and I challenge anybody to see this movie and not feel exactly the same. But they sell it like it's this big, like, blockbuster, scary story, like using your imagination.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up the title of it because I don't want to mess this up.
The worst movie I've ever watched, man. I don't know, man. It's I've got some cult classics that I love, but obviously they're not going to go into, like, Better Off Dead is one of my all-time favorite, again, cult classic. Like the newspaper boys driving around, I want my $2. There was a witch movie, like a teen, not Teen Witch, but I don't know, just terrible. It's just one of those things that you watch to finish, and it just, 80s cheesy movies that you just watch to the end, and just certain lines just stick in your head for the rest of your life. And you quote these lines, and nobody in the room has seen the movie, and occasionally you stumble upon somebody, you're like, I've seen that movie. It's like, yeah, you get all excited.
It's funny to me whenever I hear somebody say that they like this movie, and I'm like, you're a liar. Because it is brutal. The movie was made in 2003. It's rated R. It's called Open Water. Good. I'm glad you said that. Because now I'll challenge you
to go watch it.
So it's on Apple TV.
Open Water.
It is 1 hour and 21 minutes. So it's 2 hours long. So it's 2 hours that you're never going to get back. So
Ever.
It needs to be
An hour and a half.
And I'll even again, it's so bad I'm going to spoil it. But it's about this husband and wife. I think they were married. It's been a while since I've seen it, but.
I've seen it. They go out and they get left.
Yes, they're scuba divers.
And they get left.
Yes.
And so Jessica, so Jessica and I watched it, and it ended. And I was like, how does anybody know any of that happened?
So I wonder. I just got a message from somebody that says they can't hear me. So I'm gonna do a microphone check. What were you talking about then?
I just heard it.
This one better?
I heard that.
So send me a text if that sounds better. Let me know.
So I know these mics, they only can talk
saying,
into like the front or the
I
back.
just don't want to go through it, get to the end.
Can't talk into the top of these. So
you're good.
Yeah.
So send me a message back, Watkins, if this is any better or if it's the same. We'll try to figure it out. But there we go. Okay, good. So the movie, worst movie of all time.
Open Waters. Yeah, that
Open
was
Water.
It ended, and it was just kind of.
It's so bad.
I don't even. What's the point? I mean.
Well, here's what I think. It's so bad that literally you're sitting there and they're sitting in the hotel and they're getting ready to go on this excursion, right? And I'm like, okay, what's this movie about? It's kind of the beginning. And, like, she walks across completely naked. Like, total gratuitous, like, unnecessary, no part of the story whatsoever.
It goes to my bad writing. I'm going to do something to get your attention.
Yes.
It got your attention. It's like, great. And you watch two people swim in the ocean for an hour and a half.
For an hour and a half.
Like, cool.
Yeah. And we won't spoil what happens to them.
So who liked that movie?
Those people's parents. That's about it.
So at work we did a little video that May the 4th theme.
Yeah.
and we were working with Darth Vader as our realtor, Darth Realtor.
Yeah.
And I was in that walking down the street, and it was so my acting debut. It's like, yes, Mom, look. So yeah, that was some great acting, and that's comparable to and probably the same point of Open Waters.
Bad movie.
I agree.
Bad movie. Like, it's so bad. Like,
I completely forgot about that movie until
so yeah. I wish I could forget about it, but it was literally the worst movie.
Fresh in your head. Yeah.
Like, I would rather go watch.
I don't know if it was the worst.
The worst.
The most pointless. Easy. I mean, it just.
Usually, I can kind of always find the light at the end of a tunnel when you're talking about a movie. Like, oh, okay, they did this. You know, because you have kids, you watch a lot of silly, kid shows that star The Rock or John Cena, or the Tooth Fairy or, whatever it is.
Yes.
And it's, it's goofy, but it serves its purpose. This had no purpose.
None.
None whatsoever.
I think it was a true story, though, right? Can you look that up?
I believe it was a true story.
So they got left out there.
You know who didn't write it? Them.
That's when it ended. I said, how does anybody know?
They don't know.
Like,
so
everything
is it
that, like,
really a true story?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I guess the movie could have been a miscount getting back in the boat, and the boat rode off, and then that was it. Like, that literally is it. Yeah. It's like, here's a story. A guy, he lived, he died.
Would have made that particular movie 10 times better.
If it were 10 minutes long.
Yes. Like, you would think people being in the ocean, and I'm a huge Shark Week guy, right?
Oh, you know how they do those movie shorts?
Yeah.
That would have been great. Just a couple getting on a boat. Everybody's counted, and they leave, and they get back to shore, and like they're not there. It's over.
It's over.
And it's like, what happened to him?
Cue the music.
It's up to you. What happened to him?
And it's like, and then lead into like Jaws, Jaws 4. Like, that would have been a good movie. Like, open water. The concept of, they're left out there, and then what it would have been a 2-hour trailer for the next Jaws movie. Like, all of a sudden they're out there, they're swimming, they're flailing their arms, like dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it. Jaws comes by, takes them both down. It's like coming in June, Jaws 4. Like, aren't you just glad that you just sat through like 2 hours of our new Steven Spielberg Jaws 4 trailer?
Right.
Gotcha. Like, that would be the ultimate. We talk
Stephen
catfish.
King Jaws.
That's the ultimate catfish right there. So if that happens, Steven, call me. We'll work that out.
Open Waters.
Open Water.
Don't watch.
Terrible.
I agree.
Terrible movie. So yeah, if you have terrible movies out there too, like, let us know what your worst favorite movie is, because
your worst favorite movie.
We've probably seen it. It's so bad that I love telling the story about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad it was. Like, we talked about it before. Give me an A or give me an F. Like, C, no good. C doesn't get noticed. Like, A, you're really good. F, you're really bad. You get noticed. It's just maybe not what you want to get noticed for. So let's spin the wheel.
That's good.
We'll translate into kind of what we have going on.
91. We're getting some old stuff today.
Staying in the 90s.
Rock. Yes.
Right.
Big hair. Whoa, it's all over there. 9. Hey, it's definitely going to be some big hair.
So number 9.
So there is another one that I watched back a while back, man, and can't wait till they come out with season 3. But it's Mind Hunters.
Okay, man, is that? I feel like I've seen that too.
It's based in the 70s, and it's about serial
Maybe
killers.
I started that, and for whatever reason,
guy in the FBI who's very just naive is probably the best word I could use. He's just inquisitive. He's asking, for all these serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
His question is, but why? But why? But why? And at that era is when men were men. He's an idiot. He killed somebody, and he needs. Go ahead.
Alexa, play November Rain by Guns N' Roses.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's pretty song.
We got 8 minutes of this song. It's gonna play.
Yeah. So, and he kept asking questions, and at that time, it was just nobody wanted to explain it. It was just the guy committed a crime and he should be punished. It's like, yeah, but something's leading into this, and can it be predictive? So they really dive into the minds of serial killers and the events of serial killers and the childhood of serial killers, and they started being able to predict a chain of events of people that were doing it, and they found out the arrogance of serial killers, and they could sit and talk with them about other serial killers and just kind of get into the head of why where, what can we expect next.
Did they have profilers?
Yes.
So like,
And then they did a season 2 which was fantastic because it was down in Atlanta with a lot of the children that were being murdered down there. I think it was back in the early 80s.
okay.
Just kids getting snatched up and killed, and who's doing this, why, and they used profilers to.
So I was a huge fan of the show. I'm terrible. My short-term memory today is just awful.
Yeah.
What was the profiler show? It just went off the air last year. It was on CBS. I shouldn't bring stuff up if I can't remember the title. It's
See,
frustrating.
we are human.
Yes.
And as we definitely want to see. So Tom and I were talking before the show about how much we've got going on in
Yeah.
just life
And
in
that's
general.
probably
So I
it.
think that's what's going on. So obviously we're doing this. We started this to set out and give ourselves a break from life and all the stuff that we were hearing. Also to give you guys a break from all the stuff that you were hearing with the media, election season, just every time that I could ring the bell on everything that we just wanted to give everybody a break on, and listen to us two fools talk, and so we're obviously doing this, but this is also taking on a life of its own. Thank you to Local Legends for the backing and the sponsorship and the creativity. We're starting to reach out to small businesses and people that run those businesses to highlight them and people that have been involved in their life. So we're trying to schedule that and do this to give positivity to the world, but we've got to pay the bills,
Sure.
and we're growing there as well. The merger of us coming
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
we're bringing someone to generate some business for us,
Yeah.
training, working with them.
Yeah.
We've got another person coming in that we're training to run the business.
Yeah.
So it's you're coaching ball. You've got that season going. I'm getting ready to go pick up Paige from school. Her season's in. We're planning for vacation. It's like, when you look at your life and you put it in compartments of
Not to mention
responsibilities.
being a parent to 3 other individuals.
Yes.
And
a husband.
Yes.
So
And
every
good ones at that, by the way.
yes. Top shelf. So every avenue of every compartment of life, every title that you would wear is pulled in 5 different directions right now. And it was a funny conversation we had yesterday of just, I don't want to say exhausted because I'm not exhausted, because it's like when you hit that cruise control of life and you're pushing through, but it's just like, I don't have time to remember shows right now.
Yeah, no, it's exactly it, right? So,
Yeah.
so Carrie Weldon, she came through and she said, Criminal Minds. I don't know how, it's one of my all-time favorite shows.
Yeah.
And, I've seen every single episode.
So today
How I completely forgot Criminal Minds.
today is officially our audience is going to bail us out with our.
Yes, and that's what we're asking
Thank
for.
you guys. We're
So-
all in this together.
So, Criminal Minds, Mindhunters, right? I love, those theories and, Criminal Minds, obviously, it's fictional, right?
Yeah.
But just the simple thought of, it's kind of that Big Brother feeling. How does somebody take the story of somebody, obviously getting killed or multiple people getting killed and then link them all together and be like, oh, we know who it is.
Right.
You do? Because the guy's gotten away for 17 years.
The Unabomber was fantastic because it was forensic linguistics is what the guy called it. It's like your forensics on language, and that's literally how they caught him, because it's like, what region of the country is this terminology commonly used? And it's like Chicago. They say that up there all the time. It's like, all right. So, and it started narrowing down just from the verbiage that he used. And it's like, well, here's who we kind of suspect this is, and here's the setting he is. So just reading the way he articulated things, someone else is on the other side of hey, I noticed that he said this or didn't say this, so he's got to be in these certain. And they had the guy pegged before they ever had him pegged.
Yes.
They just didn't know.
Can you run a report and it cross-checks everything that's out there? It's like, oh, we need a guy that loves pink shoes, that lives in Illinois, but also is a carrot farmer.
And when
Found him. There he is.
Yes. And
So
when
one
they,
guy.
when they released the manuscript or whatever, his brother, or I guess his sister-in-law, it's like, that sounds like. It's like, nah, it can't be.
Right.
Huh?
So, I was reading today, I came across Twitter, okay, and it's not really no holds barred, right? But I can see this being a controversial topic. I didn't think this was even possible anymore. I thought there's no way. South Carolina is in the middle of bringing back firing squads. That was when I read it, I said, this can't be true. Yeah. And it read the whole story. I won't name the news organization, but it was on Twitter. Like, it's one of your big 4 news stories. Like, and not only that, like, the vote to get it to happen is overwhelmingly
In favor of bringing back firing squads.
So they would give this inmate that's on death row the choice of the chair, lethal injection, or a firing squad.
Wow. So, yeah, I don't
Now,
know, Joe, because there's just like, are you in favor of or against?
No.
I get it. So it's a weird avenue, but like, whatever side you stand on, all right. If we commit that way of the death sentence and
Sure.
you
Right,
get
right,
it,
right.
A, they get a last meal. No, dude.
Right.
You've lost the rights of everything.
Yes.
Like you're being sentenced to death.
Right.
Now you can pick the way you want to die. You want to go out like a hero and no. You void all rights.
Here's what we're gonna do. Like, it could be the worst.
And then firing squad.
But I think that
I can't get my head around it.
I struggled really reading it, but then the more I thought about it, I'm like, what would I do? Like, yeah, could you just give me one sniper? Like, I don't know where he's at, and he just takes me out.
And I'm tracking a fly ball.
Yes, done. Like,
Done.
you know, the guy's out. He's out in the yard. He's on death row. I don't know. Death row inmates, they get to go out and play in the yard. I don't know.
Yeah.
I said play. The guy's a grown man that's probably killed at least one person in some gruesome fashion. He's gonna go out and play. Like,
that is news to me. And I wow.
I saw that today. So when we start talking about like serial killers, I started thinking like, death. I'm like, yeah.
Bring back the firing squad.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just the sickness in that person's head of. That's how I want to go out.
I thought, in this world in particular, like, who votes for that? And then I look, and they were like, that part of Congress in South Carolina or whatever branch it is. I'm not, my citizenship or my whatever you want, my citizenship classes were back in 1993.
Yeah.
So, but like, the fact that it was so overwhelmingly the other way, I'm like. I was blown away by the whole thing. I'm like, this can't be real. What are we living in, like, medieval times, like Wild Wild West, Billy the Kid?
Yes.
Speaking of Billy the Kid, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Young Guns.
Young Guns 2.
Okay. Yes.
I haven't seen one. I've seen it, but not nearly as much as Young Guns 2. Young Guns 2, when it comes on, like, I stop everything. It's kind of like Rocky.
Yeah.
Jaws.
It's got the great line of "You make you famous."
Yes.
That is such a great line.
And the song in there and we'll just play it. Alexa, play "Blaze of Glory" by Bon Jovi. Like, this song, I just love. I love this song.
Yeah.
Like, and then I watched the movie. It's like Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips. Like, these guys.
Our buddy Lee Crouch is a Young Guns guru.
I love it. So Lee and I would get along.
Yes.
Well, we do get along great, but Lee, like, we could sit here and watch.
Let's have a Young Guns evening.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I think I heard they're coming out with a third one. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You talk about good writing.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be good writing to get that show back.
Young Guns 3.
I also feel like.
I'd watch it 100%.
Do you ever have those movies where, like, you're flipping across, like, it's, I don't know, maybe it's a Saturday afternoon, it's raining, and you can't go out and cut your grass, like.
Braveheart going nowhere.
Yeah, like, you just flip through, like.
Gladiator is going nowhere. Tombstone is going nowhere.
Yep.
That's.
See, mine are a lot of 80s movies. Like, I can, for whatever reason, whatever Rocky it is, like, I stop on it.
Right.
I watch it. Young Guns 2, I stop, I watch it. Jaws, depending on who's in the room.
Right.
I stop. Or where we're going on vacation and when, how far away we're leaving. I stop and watch it.
We're going to Outer Banks. Let's watch Jaws.
Well, that's funny because this, in a couple weeks we're going to be married 20 years. And, yeah, I know, right? And, well, you've hit 20 already, haven't you? Or
No.
You're right behind us.
Right behind you.
Yeah. So, on our honeymoon, we took a cruise. There were 2 movies you could watch on the cruise. I can't name the other one, but there's one I can name, and it's like the worst possible. I'll give you
Open Waters.
No, it's not. It's not that the movie was terrible, but it was like the worst possible movie to play on a cruise.
Right.
Go ahead. I'll give you one guess.
I got to go with Jaws.
No.
Waterworld.
Nope. Tom Hanks.
Oh, sure, Castaway.
Yes, it was Castaway.
Well said.
Like, we're sitting, you whatever, you go to bed, whatever, and you kind of turn, I fall asleep to the TV, sort of turn it on.
Yeah, but that was about an airplane crash, and so.
Still, but he ended up on a deserted island, and like, I had never been on a cruise before.
Right.
And like, you're literally out in open water, like, and I'm watching Castaway, I'm like, this probably is not the best show for us to, it's
Right.
like, why not watch Con Air if you're getting ready to get on the airplane,
Yeah, but that's just when you walk around the boat and you start sniping stuff from people. Like, there's an ice skate. Like,
Yes, just in case.
I'm prepared for
prepared.
this
Yeah.
crash
And
and
we
being
need to put all
stuck.
this stuff in.
Yeah.
So,
Just start taking accounting. Just walk. What do you got in your room?
okay, bad movie, bad writing, hilarious movie.
Napoleon.
Tom Hanks
Yeah.
and Meg Ryan. Joe versus the volcano.
Yes. I vaguely remember it. It's
So good writing. In terms of like, it's stupid movie, stupid, right? But it's one of those like totally stupid. It's funny.
mm-hmm.
So Joe's gonna die. He wants to take this last trip, right? And I forget if he met Meg Ryan or how he met Meg Ryan, but he needed luggage, right? So he goes and buys this super expensive luggage for whatever reason. Takes all his stuff in it, whatever, and then goes and goes on the ship wrecks, luggage floats. He's riding on all these big cases. Goes to the supposedly deserted island, right? And the tribe is there, and they worship, like, instead of gold or anything like that, it was orange pop. So they had all these like cans of orange pop, and like that was their thing, right? Like, and so they had to make a sacrifice to their god, and it just happened to be Tom Hanks, Joe, and Meg Ryan. Well, when they dropped the orange soda into the volcano by accident, the volcano explodes and sends Joe and Meg out into this open water. And like out of nowhere, boom! Here comes all of his luggage, and they're floating back on the land on these big giant things of luggage. Joe versus the volcano. Terrible movie, but hilarious story.
That's hilarious.
Hey, I don't know how we went from Young Guns
To Joe versus the volcano.
Yes.
I don't know how we go from anywhere we
So
go.
we actually went from serial killers
Yeah.
to
Criminal
orange
Minds.
soda and luggage saving Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
And we're Nicolas Cage, Raising Arizona. Have you ever seen that?
Is that the one?
Leaves a baby on the car. Just
Is that the one where he's the alcoholic?
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Just-
And Elizabeth Shue. Is she
Yep.
in it? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So some of the great all-time classic.
I could go like it's that 6 Degrees of Separation of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same deal with movies. I always do that. Like, you know how you, like, even in your head, like, you'll go from one thought and you'll get somewhere completely out of left field. And you're like, and then you try to, the fun part is trying to track back, like, man, how'd I get there?
Nicolas Cage has done some awful movies. So Paige and I were like, let's do a Nicolas Cage marathon. Because I don't even know how many movies the guy's been in. It's unbelievable.
Con Air.
But yeah, a bunch more. It's like 80-something
Yeah.
movies. It's insane. We're like, yeah, let's do it. And some of them, you're just like, this is bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just awful.
Well, do you think, we're not actors or anything, but if that's your profession, right? Like,
You read the script. Do I want to be in this?
but at some point, like, just like any other normal person, right? You're like, gotta put food on the table. Like, yeah,
I listened to Joe Rogan. I used to listen to him a lot. I haven't listened to him probably about 2 years. But he had Kevin Hart on.
Yeah.
And the interview, it was a great interview. So we got 91. They were talking about their stand-up stuff, Country, and 11. So they were talking about their stand up and how they do it, and they perform almost like every night. They just go on the stage, and when they have these ideas, they just
It's
throw it out, and,
Yeah.
and if they get a good reaction, they'll jot it down and use that, and they'll go on the next night and just kind of take that joke a little farther or peel it back a little bit, and that before we see them on their Netflix specials, they have told that joke 1,000 times just to get it with the right cadence, with the right
Yes.
the setup. So when I think of these bad movies that Nicolas Cage is in, he's like, you know what? Is it part of him refining his craft? Let me do this cheesy, dumb movie just to practice.
Yeah.
And then he'll come out with a great movie. But it's all the dumb movies. It's just like life, right? It's the same thing in life. We live every day of our life, and like what we're going through right now with how busy we are in every avenue.
Right.
We're not making all the right decisions, but down the road, we're going to be refined enough to make quicker, better, more efficient, more intelligent decisions. So you got to make the dumb movies to have the good movies.
Well, and also I think in that realm too, like you could be playing a part in a movie and use, even though it's a terrible movie, you might have a really great movie over here that somebody wants you to play, or maybe they don't want you to play. Maybe you're up for that particular spot on that movie, and they look back and they're like, "Oh, you were Dumb and Dumber." Okay, well, we don't really need dumb or dumber, but we like the way you dress. We like these lines. We like the way you talk. You can play a serial killer over here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's stuff like that happens. So this next song, by one of my all-time favorites, okay? And if I start singing it, no judgment. Okay? Alexa, play If I Know Me by George Strait.
Okay. I guess we are country. I thought you were going to pull that like Tiffany or Debbie Gibson.
No, I would definitely sing that with no problem. So,
oh, that's great.
you talk about it, right? So, like, yeah, we're busy. Are we too busy? No, it's really just
Right.
life, right? So it's funny to me. I was having this conversation last week. I was at a derby party, and I was working, right? Kind of, it's like 6 or 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm handling phone calls, and that's just what we do, right? So
Yep.
you're doing whatever the best interest of your client. So talking, he looks at me, and he was a past client too. He goes, "Man," he's like, "you just don't ever stop, do you?" I'm like, "No, I don't." I said, it comes and goes. I said, "It comes and goes." I said,
Right.
It is what it is. I said, if I can take 5 minutes right now and deal with it, not deal with it, that's a bad word, but like confront it and talk about whatever it is that's going on, or handle it that way, I'd rather have those 5 minutes right now than trying to combine those 5 minutes into 8 hours of a day to try to handle everything else and not get to it right now. I'd rather just kill things right then. I said, the way my life is, everything just, I don't want to say flows, that's not really what I'm going for, but like I try to make it to where everything is on time, like back to back to back,
Yeah.
whether it's work, whether it's games, whether it's a derby party or lunch or whatever it is. Like, I want to line everything up so that there's no pauses in my day. Like, I want to almost to the point, like like a multitasker.
Yeah.
I can do my business. I can do my work. I can do my life. I can do the sports. All this stuff is just, and it doesn't always work out that way.
Right.
But like, that's my goal.
I went to my early professional career, corporate training world. I went to Franklin Covey scheduling, like seminar type thing. They just trained on how to schedule, how to be more organized in your life. And the guy doing it said you should schedule 60% of your day, because the other 40% is to mix in the unexpected.
Right.
And I couldn't. It's like, no. And that's why part of some of my problem too. It's just like, no, I got back to back to back to back. My day's typically 90% full. So if something happens wrong in my day, it's, and you're thinking quick on your feet of like, how can I address this
Right.
and keep going and do what I've scheduled myself to do. And it's, I don't know. I don't know the right answer to that. I think it's case by case.
Are you better flying by the seat of your pants, or are you better having things structured in?
I'm probably a hybrid. I need to know. I hate surprises.
Yeah.
But I'm not like the most organized guy in the world that you'll
Right.
ever meet. But I'm always on time. I'm always there. I always deliver. You know, there's some situations where it's like, oh, I forgot. I gotta do something because
Right.
it slipped my mind or whatever. But so I know what's going on for the day, but I'm not like this crazy hyper. You know, to the 5 minute, like at 1:05, I need to cut in and eat my apple for that day.
I'm kind of like that.
Right.
Like, obviously, I take.
So, and in our world, I mean, I don't know that how organized we can be when it comes to that. I think because I don't know, like today when I was leaving my house, I'm wearing shorts today because I'm so sick and tired of this weather. I was like, you know what, I'm committing. I'm tired of it going back and forth and being cold, so I'm going to dress as it's warm. So I'm wearing shorts today. And when I was driving over here, I was like, what if somebody calls and wants to see your house today? I'm going to show up maybe not in what I would normally wear as attire, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm prepared. So with that being said, I can't dictate if a new house is going to hit the market today.
Right.
So I don't know my day, but it's weird.
100% on board with that. So like maybe I went to this crazy happy school several years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I probably have talked about this. I don't know if we've talked about this kind of on the show, but company I was working with, they sent people that had been there a couple years that they kind of had some plans for or whatever. They sent them this guy. I wish I knew his name, and that's not because my memory either. That's just like literally it was so long ago. I don't remember his name. I know he had been on 60 Minutes. He had given us some good books. There was like 70 people in this small little motel in Podunk, Texas. Like I'm talking Podunk, small little town. Flew into San Antonio, rented a car and drove 3 hours.
Whoa.
Into like backcountry.
Did you open your hotel with a key?
Yes.
Not a swipe
card.
Not
a key. Swipe. A key.
With a big plastic chain.
The whole entire place was just the conference. And I mean, when I say like the place was small, there was probably 60 rooms in the entire thing.
Right.
And like, here I am, I like to party, right? So like I get there, I'm like, well, I'm here for 3 or 4 days. Like right next door was a convenience store. Like, okay, I'm going to go get a case of beer. I'm going to put it on, I think it's like, case of beer, give me some beer, some dip, some cigarettes. Like I'm going to party. Like, so like, I remember we get there and like the first thing this guy talks about is like, beer bad, dip bad, cigarettes bad. I'm like, oh, this just ruined my entire trip. Like, yeah, it's like, and then like his brother, the guy's brother who ran the show, he was part of like, and the guy was like 85 years old. Like, his brother was probably 75.
Right.
Like he was like his companion or travel partner. He was roomed right next to me. And so like, we go down, we're at the show or this convention. It's not even a convention. I mean, literally,
we're back to talking about movies. Keep going.
You know how things just hit a chord, and you're like, I got it. So like, we go to this place, and we always call it a happy school. It's like the weirdest thing ever. Like the guy was old, he was weird, and his helpers were weird, and like I was like, man, why do people send you there? It was like so. It's like when I came back, it was like so you could pick one thing. If you could pick one thing, right, and take away from this to make your life better. Don't listen to all the jargon and all this stuff. But
yeah.
If you can put one thing that helps you in your life, like, then it's worth it, right?
Yep.
And I have so many crazy stories about that particular trip, right? Obviously, that's just kind of I'm setting the stage.
Sure.
For what that was, but like, us talking about kind of organization. One of the things that he said was, when you get up in the morning, like, make a list. Make a list of what you have to do, right? And then your day works off of crossing off those things on that list.
Yeah.
And then obviously things are going to come up that might take precedence. Plug them in where they need to be plugged in, even though you may have already done them. Like, plug them in, and at the end of the day, when you look at the end of your day and what you did, like, your mindset, because this was a big happy school, right? It's a big positivity thing.
Yeah.
So your mindset at the end of the day, even though maybe you didn't accomplish everything on that list,
right?
You see that you have accomplished certain things.
Yeah.
And so you look
like
at that,
that.
And it's like, today wasn't completely a waste. Like, here's what I did. I did all these different things. And then you take anything that's left over and you make sure those get added on to tomorrow's plus anything new.
Yep.
Try to prioritize them as best you can. You just keep going from that. I do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was.
That's neat.
It was one of those
I
things-
do reflect at the end of every day. I do have a moment of, I do start every day with kind of clearing my head, cup of coffee. I do dive into scripture,
Yeah.
read some things. I listen when I'm driving. I have a Holy Bible app that plays the book, so I can listen as I'm driving, and I go through books and listen there, and I'll meditate on some things. So my whole day has started with getting my mind in a good place. And then at the end of my day, when I'm laying in bed, I do recap 89 hip hop number 16.
Ooh, darn.
Every day is also ended with reflecting back of what did I do today. And there's some days where you get discouraged with yourself because
Sure.
you could have done more or less. But no, I do like that because you do need to do some self-accounting, some self-examining at the end of every single day, not at the end of week, month, whatever. At the end of every day, you need to do some examining and accounting of what did I do today? Was I productive?
Yeah.
So when I used to work retail and I would train my staff, I'd ask,
Alexa, play "Spend the Night" by the Isley Brothers. That just drove Jessica nuts, by the way.
yeah, it did. Right, interrupted it on the flow. So when I used to be a corporate trainer, I would always ask, where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, just handle your entire day that way. You could ask it literally and figuratively of like, because the big thing in retail is you don't want to be behind the counter.
Right.
So we'd have a conversation of where am I? Behind the counter. What am I doing? You have to answer these questions on repeat and just run that cycle of where am I? What am I doing? Where am I? What am I doing? You know where you're supposed to be in the position in the sales floor, and you know you're supposed to be productive. So, and you can ask yourself those two questions in life of where am I in life, and what am I doing about it?
Yeah.
Probably 4 years ago, I took that question took that cycle that I constantly repetitively ask myself, and I said, and who am I with? And I think those three questions are every single day, man. And I'm not kidding when I say this. Those three questions come in my day probably 1,000 times a day. Where am I? What am I doing? And who am I with? And I always ask. So I got a guy I follow on Twitter. Naval is his name, and I retweeted it this morning because it was fantastic. It was just he asked those three questions, man, and I was like, that's fantastic because that's 100% how I motivate myself every day, and it's just where am I, what am I doing, and who am I with?
When you're younger,
he says the three big decisions: what you do, where you live, and who you're with.
I saw that.
So I'm just like, yes. Tweet a little differently.
Sure.
But those three things, if you can answer and beat yourself up, be honest with yourself. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle in life is when you say, where am I? I'm not where I want to be. What am I doing? Probably not doing what I need to be doing.
To get where I want to be.
Then
And
do
who are
it.
you- and who are you with? Well, I'm probably hanging with people that ain't going to help me. That's really good stuff for high school. Like,
Yes.
For like
you show me the 5 people you hang out with, and I'll show you, right?
Yes.
Yes,
For high
all
school,
day.
which I blame that on my lack of success. The people I hung out with in high school, right? I'm just kidding. But that's, you walked right into that one.
You're right. That could have been so much more.
That's good.
Thanks,
what
Tom.
am I doing? Where am I at? Look
Thanks.
where I'm at. I'm in my basement with the same people I hung out with in high school.
In a basement.
In a basement.
We just moved basements.
Huh. Like, man, I really haven't changed anything. Didn't I say before, like, no longer time to go back in time? Didn't we just do that?
Look at CDC on the wall right here.
Yeah. Like, man, this show totally failed.
Right.
I think I'm waiting for Bill and Ted to come out and, like, suck me back out of it.
Right.
So, but no, it's honestly a great point because, when I went there to that place, I don't think I was 30 years old.
Right.
And, here I'm 42, so not old, but I'm older, right? And you get into our world where, it's a risk and you're making these decisions. And if you can, maybe when you go and do those sort of things like you did, at the corporate training center or what I did at Crazy Happy School in who knows where, Texas, like, to be able to take, I never thought, like, it took me a long time to, like, take that particular portion. And there are other things that I took from that experience.
Yes.
But it wasn't like I came back, like, oh, I'm a brand new person.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, I was really actually kind of fighting a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew the guy's name because I would look it up. He's probably passed away by this point. Like he was like, you ever seen the juicer guy that was like 95 years old and
Yeah.
like Ed Dulane, something like that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like he brought this guy up and like they were basically the same age. There were a lot of the same people. Like he got like this guy was like 85, 80, 86, 87. Like he's dropping down, he's doing push-ups, like tip top shape. Like, you want to live to be 87? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, not living your way, I don't. Like, can I get back up to my room? Like, my way of living is upstairs. Right. But there was just so much, there was so much weirdness at the convention that I couldn't really get past.
Yes.
But it was like, there was one, like, and you're trying.
Do they still do it?
The guy, I don't know. I don't know what the name
he's probably 97.
No,
he's 103 now.
The guy's, yeah, he's old. He's probably dust at this point. But it's like old. He was old then. He's old now. So, but what's funny about that? Like again, you take all this stuff away, and I could go on and on about some of the crazy, what we did. So, like, there was one story where it's like, we want you to right now we're stopping class. You're going to go upstairs, you're going to strip off all your clothes in your room, and you're going to read these stories. And it's like, and I'm one of those people that, I'm willing to be open-minded, and I'm going to buy in and just do basically, I didn't go back to my room and say, I did exactly, not to be too graphic, but did exactly what he was telling you to do.
Yeah.
And, I come back, no, this is stupid. Right? And then, I get back and I'm doing all this stuff, no, I don't stop my day and go lay naked in some office somewhere. No. But, I took some other stuff away from that. That's, the weird, goofy part of it. But, again, I've always been open-minded to where, I'll give somebody the opportunity to explain their views and I'll buy
100%.
in to, try to get it. And then I make my own decision based upon my own experience.
Yeah.
Or,
that's fair.
Whereas I'm not quick to jump in and say, no, you're wrong. No, sure, fine, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Right? I was in college. I was telling this story this week too. Playing baseball, whatever. We had practice. I remember, and 3 buddies of mine, we decided there was a comedy show at the Mount, and we were gonna go to it. So we're like, oh, okay. So let's stop off. We got a 12-pack of beer. We're had an hour, 3 of us to crush these beers. So we're killing them. And you're like, oh, you're in college. You're like, yeah,
right.
Whatever. We'll go to the comedy show again there. Well, it's a hypnotist. Right? And so, everybody is, it's a small auditorium, kind of like what we had at Corey, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And the guy's up there, and it's like, hey, do we have any volunteers? And everybody's ready. And I get picked to go up on stage.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, at that point, I'm like, man, I've never done this before. Open mind. I'm going to buy in to whatever this guy's program is to see if this works.
See if I get hypnotized.
Mm-hmm. And in the fun, and I'll go into this in a second, but he probably pulled 30 people up on stage, and we're all sitting in these folding chairs, and he's going through a spiel and then you're up, and I could see him tapping people, and when he tapped you, you would get up and you were gone, you were off, right? And I made it to the final. Let's just say I couldn't remember exactly, but 6 to 10 people,
right?
And so we're up on stage and we're sitting in this half moon section, and he's keeps going, and then he would kick somebody off, and there was it got to the point, maybe it started at 10 and then it got to 6, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that he felt
was not
completely buying into it. So I passed that test, right? And he goes through these things. I don't remember exactly. I wish it nowadays it would have been on camera.
Yeah.
Somewhere somebody would have had it on their cell phone. But he goes through these things, and I remember specifically it was you have this. He put this stuffed animal, tiny stuffed animal under everybody's chair, and the story was he was like, okay, that's your most prized possession, and the person to your right and left of you are both trying to steal it. So all of us get up and are hiding this thing where we up our shirts, down your pants, underneath, just everything you can. And the funny thing about like when I was being hypnotized, like people were like, "Did you know what you're doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing." Like, why'd you do that? It's like I couldn't stop myself from doing it.
Really?
Like I always thought hypnotism was like you totally forget, you
Blank
black
out.
out, and you're just doing it. And maybe that's the experience for somebody else.
Sure.
For me, I'm already goofy as is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of stuff that was going on up there. Like, no, I wouldn't do that up on a stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm acting like a complete idiot. Sure, I can act like a complete idiot in front of other people. I do it every Thursday at 11 o'clock.
Right.
You know, but when that was going on, like, I literally, like, if people don't know, like, you obviously didn't know that this has happened. Like, the experience of being hypnotized in that faction. Maybe there's different levels, different types, different whatever. You know, he would say a word, like that's what it was. It was like he'd say a word, and everybody'd hop up.
So it's like an outer body experience.
It was
like
so-
you're
yes,
conscious of
yes.
it. You're
Oh, it's-
competent of everything going
just
on. You just
could not stop yourself from doing it.
yeah. The anxiety drove you to like I gotta hide this.
Yes, it's just,
Like I know what's going. It's like it's being in a dream.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
literally,
That's
like,
neat.
The last thing was like, oh, you're at a party with all your buddies, right? And there's whatever. There's girls and guys there, and so like you get up and like like I remember like literally dancing on this girl, like and I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself like, what am I doing? And then he clicked the button again. It's like, oh my gosh, I gotta hide this thing. Like it was all this like everything that we had done in this
That's
entire
so
show
funny.
was going on at one time. Like
I got another friend that was on, and he couldn't get under, so he did it, but he couldn't. He was the one that got booted off. Man, the guy was
It was
hip hop '88. Woo woo, it's hip hop I like.
what was funny when I got off
12.
the stage, like.
So yeah, I've heard of. So you're the second person I've heard on stage getting hypnotized like
Yeah.
that. And the other
Did
person.
they have the same
No,
experience? or-
he couldn't. He
Oh,
he
okay.
wouldn't go under. He got booted off because it wasn't.
Alexa, play "Touch the World" by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Ooh yeah.
So, but they were asking me like they kind of basically were calling me a liar. I'm like, really, guys? Like, you know, I'm silly.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah.
None of that stuff like was me.
Right.
Like, but the fact that I still remember it.
That's cool. Like vividly remember.
Yeah, like I would
Yeah.
do it again in a heartbeat. Like it was like when I left, it was that much fun to get the questions and to be able to like speak to it.
Right.
But anytime anybody's like, no, I don't believe in that crap. I'm like,
All right.
yeah, it's happened to me. Like hilarious moment. So anyway, segue. Right. So we're busy. Let's get to sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's 12 now, 12:08. So we went an hour and 8 minutes, zero sports conversation, and we had some stuff this week.
Yeah.
So
That's impressive. The movies got us distracted. And I think our lives got us distracted,
Yeah,
and it's cool.
the rabbit hole or the wormhole, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I like rabbit hole. I think Joe Tolby likes rabbit hole
He
as well.
does. He loves when I say rabbit hole. Rabbit hole.
We need a remix.
So, sports. I saw today before we came on that, we talked about this a few weeks ago. The Bengals are going to have a Ring of Honor, and they're inducting 2 more. So they did Paul Brown and Anthony Munoz first. Those are no-brainers.
No brainers.
They are taking a fan vote on the other 2 for the year 2021.
Wow.
So if I go through it, I'll just quickly go through the.
My knee jerk, Boomer, is just.
He's on there.
Yeah.
And I think
Boomer and Kenny Anderson, I think. But who was their first ever draft pick? Another quarterback that was, I can't remember his name.
Greg.
Yeah.
He was out of UC. Greg.
Yeah.
He just.
So that's
literally
a tough.
just
So
missed
those
it.
3 are
Greg
tough
Cook.
to.
Greg
Yep.
Cook.
Those 3 are tough to.
What's funny about Greg Cook is like he didn't play very long, obviously in the NFL. But if you talk to people from that era, like
He was a stud.
he was like Joe Burrow before Joe Burrow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like hopefully that doesn't happen to Joe Burrow. Medicine's come a long way. But like that was the type of impact that they were kind of expecting to have, and he just never really materialized. It's like Gale Sayers, right? Like rips his knee up, can't ever play football again.
Right.
Heck, Icky Woods, even back in 91, 92, whatever year it was, rips his knee up, never really comes back again. Like
Right.
nowadays, like you look at pitchers in the major leagues, like they're darn near begging for Tommy John the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like give it to me because I'm gonna come back and throw 2-3 miles an hour harder. You know, nobody wants to tear their knee, but like medicine's come such a long way. It was
Yeah.
like, you know, yes, it sucks. You've got some rehab, but like it's not as bad as it was 30 years ago. You know, so I'm going to read this list off. I'm scrolling Twitter. Like
Yeah, my all-time favorite Bengal is David Fulcher. So, you know, I don't know that he's if he's a Ring of Honor guy, but
so
in my opinion he is, but
well,
that's a biased opinion.
I'll read it, and I'm with you. Let's find that list. Here we go. All right.
Alexa, pause.
So
I think this is quiet worthy.
2021 nominees. In my honest opinion, every one of these guys is worthy.
Good.
Okay.
It's a good list.
So Ken Anderson,
Yes.
Willie Anderson.
Yes.
That's funny. It's in
Alphabetical order.
Yeah. Jim Breach,
Good name, but yes.
James Brooks,
Yes.
Chris Collinsworth,
Yes.
Isaac Curtis.
Ooh.
I mean, there's a lot of people that said not
yeah.
only does he belong in the Ring of Honor, he belongs in the
Hall of
National Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Corey Dillon, another one.
Yes.
Honestly, in my opinion, guy belongs in the Football Hall of Fame.
Probably.
Boomer,
Yeah. Yes.
Fulcher.
Ah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
My all-time
I'm with
favorite
you,
Bengal.
100%. Chad Johnson,
Sure.
absolutely. Again, another one. I think he belongs
Sure.
in the Hall of Fame. Tim Crumry, good Bengal.
Yes.
Don't be surprised if this name wins, just because he is the Joe Nuxall of Bengals football. Dave Lapham.
Yep.
That guy deserves something. Whether it's
1
like they
million
did for
percent.
Marty, he deserves something. If you could sit there and announce those Bengals games for as long as he's done it,
So-
there's a special place in heaven for a guy like that.
I met him, and it was weird because I'm like, it's like I know who you are, buddy.
Yes.
And it's cool to meet you.
Yeah.
And you just leave it at that, like just casually go with like that's pretty cool, man.
Love to have a beer with that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and just like, get behind the scenes type stuff. Where it's not like I would repeat it, but like tell me some stuff, man. Like you know that guys like that have so many stories. Marty Brenneman, so many stories.
Yes.
The next one, Max Montoya,
Yeah.
Lamar Parrish,
Oh.
Ken Riley. That's another one.
Yep.
That's names come up. He passed away this year. That should be in the Hall of Fame. Bob Trumpy.
Yes.
And then this is one of my very quiet all-time Bengals, Reggie Williams.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reggie Williams, and this is I'm going strictly off of memory. You know, we talked about being busy. Guy played in the NFL. At the same time, he ran for city council in Cincinnati and was a city councilman. Like, so I'm gonna go over this game plan, and then I got to deal with affordable housing downtown. Like that's busy.
Yes.
And the guy was so good at, just basically life in general,
Right.
that Disney hired him to be basically like their AAU spokesperson. Because I remember this was 26 years ago. I was on a team. We went to Iowa. The spokesperson for AAU that we were at was Reggie Williams, former Bengal linebacker. This was 1995.
Wow.
And I remember saying, like, oh, that's super cool. Like, and he was working for Disney because Disney basically inherited this AAU. They've got the AAU complex down there. So, so Ring of Honor. That is a really
good list, man.
That is
I'm trying to think of like who was snubbed. You know, you got the SWAT team. You know, like Billups could have been on there.
No, out, dropped the interception, Super Bowl. No, gone. He's gone.
You got, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of, because we're obviously closer than most, but like I think of like Eddie Brown, who was there with Collinsworth. He was a stud, but I could see him being talked about. But that list it's like Larry Kennebrew, names like.
Well, I mean, I think even
signature names as our youth growing up.
AJ Green eventually is going to be on that list. I think even
Carson, your buddy.
No,
Carson Palmer.
we hate him. He's out. Even a guy like Dalton. He's gonna be on that list.
Yep, Marvin Lewis will be on the list.
Marvin Lewis, rightfully so, should probably be on that list.
I agree.
In my opinion,
I was a fan.
You could go on and on about guys that the
under the radar or just
Andrew
too
Whitworth is going to be on that list.
Crumry is man. So I think if I were like, if you could recruit, like college recruiters bring you in and do the thing for like Notre Dame, they'd show you the four horsemen. Like, if I were a recruiter for the Bengals, I think my centerpiece would be Tim Krumrie.
Really?
That I would say this is what Cincinnati football is all about. This is what Cincinnati's all about. We're blue collar. We're rugged. This is who we are. This because that's who that guy was, man. And I would, but again, I'm openly biased into the way that I would build a team, and that's the physicalities that I would build a team on.
So
is
no, that's perfect.
Krumrie would be my centerpiece.
So that leads into the next topic. So let's spin it. The next topic. Last week there was a very, very important
2000 country or
There's
95.
Sure, we'll do 95.
95 hip hop.
Just because
love it.
Yeah.
Number 6.
It's a very important time in NFL teams' year, right? You have the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And we talked in what'd you say, number 6?
Yep.
Alexa, play Don't Take It Personal by Monica.
Here's Don't Take It Personal.
Whatever. So, the draft took place.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals, we talked, are you Team Sewell or are you Team Chase? Building, I think kind of where you were going with Krumrie was building from the line kind of out, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that...
So I could take a linebacker or a defensive back, but even if my defensive back, I would say, hey, here's the gold standard. It's Tim Krumrie.
Yeah.
I know you're a DB, but here's the work ethic. Here's the gold standard. And the same thing I would do in Baltimore, like Ray Lewis. That's the gold standard. Chicago, Walter Payton. So that again, that would be and I love David Fulcher because he had that same.
Yeah. Him and Ronnie Lott.
Bring your lunchbox to work day,
Yes.
man, because we're going to thump you, and it's going to be a day.
I miss that football. God. I miss that football. I'm glad I don't play that football, but I miss that football. But the draft took place, right? And we talked last week, there was Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts was the tight end stud.
Yep.
And then you had Jamar Chase. And I was on Team Chase. I think you were on Team Sewell.
Yep.
And it was really just kind of no knock on Pitts, but just didn't really feel like that was going to be the important pick, right?
Right.
If you're looking for game changers, right, you've got two schools of thought. Like, hey, we're going to block really well up front. We got our cornerstone left tackle, and we're just going to maul people and run the crap out of the ball. Or you just let A.J. Green walk. We're pretty good at filling those shoes, whether it's, take for what it's worth, but Carl Pickens was a great receiver for the short time that he was here.
Right.
Chad Johnson comes in right after him. Great receiver while he was here. Chad leaves. A.J. Green follows up. Like, who's the next one? Well, it's Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And they've got two other really, really good receivers in Boyd and then the second-year guy Higgins. So those three together are explosive. Whereas, like, Sewell may not have been the sexy pick, but you have those people that are in that school of thought that, like, let's build from the line and doesn't really matter what we get after that.
So when the Raiders went through their dark ages through the 90s, and it's kind of Al Davis just go get. I mean, they had the fastest receivers in the league. They were loaded.
Willie Gault was an Olympian.
Yeah.
And really good.
And I think watching the Bengals rebuild this year and knowing that Burrows got his teeth kicked in, it's like, all right, let's go get faster guys on the perimeter. My brain just stops for a second. Like that, I don't care how fast and how good that receiver is. If they're not getting the ball, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
It absolutely doesn't matter.
You kind of align on the other side of me. So we have kind of differing opinions on this. And I don't think either one of them is wrong. Like, I'm actually...
no one of them are wrong or right.
I said last week, if they draft Sewell, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm on board. We can go that route. Like, I agree. Like, give him more time. Like, you got two good guys.
Yeah.
Give him more time. But I also agree with, like, okay, you picked up some guys in free agency. We had talked about it last week, too, where the offensive line, they felt like there were more offensive linemen that were decent or good, maybe not great.
Yeah.
That they can do the job.
There was a line-loaded draft.
They could do the job to give him more time. And if he has even just a little bit more time, because honestly, their offense with him in it, even with a bad offensive line, was pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
For a rookie quarterback with Zoom meetings all offseason
They gave up a lot of points too.
You know, yeah, their defense, yeah, but 30. I think I saw a stat: 32% of his sacks were coverage sacks. Not that that's necessarily enough time, but like if you
Get
can,
open.
yeah, if you can shave that, get the ball out of his hands quicker. If that's what Chase is there to do. And then the second round, you draft a local guy. Which, by the way, did you see that on Twitter?
Mm-mm.
So they drafted Jackson Cartman
From Fairfield.
from Fairfield.
Fantastic.
If you haven't had a chance to check out the video of the phone call,
I did see that.
Best-
He hugged his mom, dude. That was. It's gonna be. It's not the Quiddy Pay story was.
yes. So, but
That's a different stratosphere.
right. But,
But yes,
for being local,
that was raw. That was he hugged his mom for.
so the best. What I thought was the
That
best
was
part
awesome.
about it, right? So the Bengals shared it on Twitter, and it was Zach Taylor basically said, "Hey, we're drafting you," and he's like, "Hey, okay, I'm coming to work," and he's got a party full of people.
Yeah.
You know, they're hanging out or whatever, but he never says. They can tell he's getting drafted, but he never says who. And mind you, I'm assuming they're in Fairfield somewhere or someplace local.
Yeah.
And he ends the phone conversation. He goes, "I'm going next to Cincinnati," and the whole place blows up. And it was like how cool of a moment
Yeah.
is that? That like, regardless of whatever he does, his NFL career, like that particular moment in that kid's life, in his family's life, like when he says, it's Cincinnati. Like,
yeah.
holy crap! Like I'm playing for the Bengals. I live here. My family's going to be able to go to games. Like they don't have to fly. You know, like it's
Yeah.
like that to me. Like I remember, and I'm getting a little bit.
I
chills
can
now.
tell you. You're
like I remember looking at that. I'm like, that was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Like whatever happens, like that moment right there was awesome. And yeah, you're getting drafted, blah blah blah. But the thing that got me when he's here in town with all his family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way,
Staying home.
it's Cincinnati. Like, dude, like that
That is
to
awesome.
be in that room right there. Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing.
That is awesome.
So staying on that guy, so they get a lineman.
Yep.
They took a lot of big name schools, guys that played for big name schools, which I'm not against. I mean, these guys are playing against the best.
That's competition every
You
week.
know, They're coached by the best, theoretically, right? So you get a guy that's blocking for Trevor Lawrence in the first round. You get a guy who was catching balls from Joe Burrow last year, you know, and then you fill it. Heck, they got their kick. They drafted a kicker in the fourth round.
Yep.
Like, oh man, we drafted a kicker. I'm like, no, go get the best one.
correct.
Like, if he's the best one, and you're worried he may not last, like,
Special teams wins games.
yes, can we get the kicker? And I was listening to a radio station, a show, talking about that, like, just like you said it, like special teams wins games. Like, the Ravens, the moment they get over the 50-yard line, they're like, oh, we're good. Like,
Justin Tucker's there,
yes,
dude.
like we got three.
We at least got three.
Like,
Yes.
Can you get 10 more yards? No, let's go score.
So when you got a kicker that good,
yeah,
that changes your offensive coordinator's mindset because you can do things. You can open your playbook to be more aggressive or to reel it in. Like you certain people they have to factor in. You know, when we're on the 40, we've got to get in field goal range. We got to get closer. We can't take a sack. So when you got Justin Tucker on your roster, we can do anything we want.
right. And that guy's proven himself. And that,
Right.
that
Just
was his
don't
point.
don't run 15 yards backwards and get sacked. Don't make an idiotic play.
Right.
But we can do whatever we want. We can run the ball here. We can throw three and out. We can go for the end zone. If we don't make it, we can still kick. We got 3 points right now.
Yes.
And that's to have that kicker changes the game.
Completely. So
To have a good punter
and-
that can pin you inside the 20, inside the 15, inside the 10, like that
if
changes.
you have a good defense.
Correct.
If you've been like the Bengals defense in the past, like, oh, who cares? We're on the 2. Oh, we got 98 yards to go. Oh, simple. Like, you won a problem. You know?
Yeah. It's an 8-minute drive instead of 4.
Yeah. So, right. Or we just throw deep right now. We'll just score. Like, we'll just show them right away.
Right.
But yeah, that was my point exactly. It's like it is such a game changer. And I'm watching Twitter, like, in this guy, in the kicker, he's up there, and there was a cool, like, dude, perfect moment.
Yeah.
He's got the bottle of Gatorade, like, sitting up on the thing, and he's kicking, like, a 40-yard field goal, and he kicks the ball up in the screen, spins the lid off of the Gatorade bottle. I'm like,
It's my guy.
How many times did it take you? He keeps climbing the ladder to put the Gatorade bottle up there. Like, think about that stuff before you do it. So,
All right.
so draft day, right? So they got a kicker. They got drafted a ton of linemen. They got whether it's defense or offense. So, like, my opinion, again, speaking as a Bengals fan, like I liked the draft.
Yeah.
They were able to cover some of their offensive line stuff that they were doing. I mean, bottom line is, even if you went from a really bad offensive line to an average offensive line, no one says you have to be great.
Right.
Go to an average one, and then have studs around you that can make plays. Like, I feel pretty good about that. So, let's spin the wheel. Well, again, let's talk about Reds because they're on a bit of a hot streak themselves.
2000. Yeah, they handed it to my Cubbies.
So,
2000 top 40.
a few weeks ago, everybody was kind of concerned about,
Number 3.
as a Reds fan, they had a very, very tough stretch coming up where they had to go they had to go to St. Louis, where they got swept. They had to go out to L.A. They were coming home to play the Cubs, and then they were playing the White Sox. Like, it was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, those teams right there. That's 4 playoff teams from last year. When they got swept by the Cardinals, like, things weren't good. Like, off the rails. Things are in a bad way. Here goes the end of the season. All of a sudden, they go out to Los Angeles. They win 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. They take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. The White Sox come into town, and they split a 2-game series with the White Sox. My biggest thing is hang around as long as you can possibly hang around.
Yeah, they're still scoring runs.
Yes.
They are still scoring runs.
So yesterday, they got kind of the best of both
2000
worlds.
top 40, number 3, Justin Timberlake.
Dude, I picked the wrong site. Hold on. Billboard.
Thank you, Celia.
Oh, shit. Celia, we'll be talking to you really soon.
Yes.
Really soon.
Exciting things in motion for that.
Ducks in a row. What was, you said number 3? I mean, this is not one list that I picked over and over again.
I like Justin Timberlake. That's another guy's going versatile and dipping his toe into his movies. He's acted in a few movies. Go ahead.
So, because I am the executive producer of the show, and I get to play whatever it is, it really depends on what list I go with, which is usually random, typically the first one that pops up on Google.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Justin Timberlake, it's not him. But, Alexa, play Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again. No, Alexa, stop. Alexa, play Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears. Who is David Guetta?
I don't know. I like Guetta.
Let's hear this out before.
It wants us to play it, right?
It does.
It's I know this song.
Oh no, I've had enough. Alexa, stop. That sounds terrible. I don't mean to offend anybody that thinks that that's good. Not me. Alexa, play Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again.
Songs by Britney Spears on Amazon Music.
This is awesome.
She's so fired.
Alexa, play Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again.
Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears on Amazon Music.
Way to step up.
Yeah. Gotta put a little bass in the voice, man. A little authority.
So the Reds have kind of
Oh, the irony. I agree.
have come back around, right? So they're kind of hanging around. You know, here we are, we're local. And last week we had the Kentucky
Did
Derby.
it again. This is a song that I'm not gonna apologize for singing.
Was this the first
Oh, baby.
like her entrance into like the mainstream
Yeah,
world?
yeah.
So the Derby took place.
Yeah.
The favorite didn't win the Derby. You know, we've talked before. Like I like sports gambling.
Yep.
So we had a lot of stuff kind of going on, and I was kind of waiting till later to do it. And 10 minutes or so beforehand, I'm like, all right, we'll try to put it in. And I had these horses picked. I had 4 of them. Those, try to get them in the right order, whatever, box them up so it come in anyway. Like 15 minutes before, I'm trying, like, and I do it on my phone, so I'm trying to get it in. I'm at a derby party, I'm plugging away. Like, for whatever reason, everybody in the world must have been trying to get these bets in.
Sure.
And you know, I'm being a baseball player, I've always been a bit superstitious. Okay. So like I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's not working. So I go all the way up to the last minute, and then at this point I'm pissed. I'm like, shh, can't get it in. I'm like, you know what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
They're gonna win. Put the bet in, watch the race. They didn't win. I'm like, best $50 I never spent in my time.
There you go.
Like super. Like I'm now at this point, I'm rooting against them because I just don't want my heart broke for it to not to happen.
Yeah.
So that was my Kentucky Derby experience.
Yeah.
You know,
Excitement.
usually
Adventure.
it was fun. You know, the party was great, but like that really, I was like, dang. And I was like, sweet thing. It was like kind of like the air kind of goes back into the balloon at that point. Like, oh, okay. Whew, man,
Yeah.
Good call. You know, sign from above. Don't gamble. So, kind of with that being said, right? We talked news. We talked sports. We didn't really talk weather. We really have a weather guy, right?
Yeah, I kind of did. I wore shorts today. I'm just frustrated. I went to watch. So West Claremont had senior night for softball, and I went up because when Glen Estee and Amelia merged, it was West Claremont. I was coach of that team, and there was a couple of the freshmen on that team, and they're seniors this year, and great ball players, great kids, and I just went up to watch them, and I was, some of the girls were wearing jackets, and I was out there with a hoodie on, just kind of, it's like, man, this spring has just been
weird,
extended cold. It's like, when is it going to get warm? And it just
could be a good thing, because at this point next week,
we're going to get some cicadas.
Yes, we're going to be talking about a whole different type of problem potentially.
Yes.
And to think about it, like, so I'm 42, you're 43, right? So we've lived through 2 rounds of these cicadas. Like, I remember the first one I thought was like the coolest thing in the world. I could take a wiffle ball bat outside and
Yes.
just swing, and you were just smashing cicada heads everywhere.
Yes.
And then
Ooh, I might go buy a wiffle ball bat.
yes, or if you had the bug zapper. Like, you remember that?
Like tennis racket looking thing that electrocute the flies.
Like, I had never, like, again, I was
They're so loud.
8 years old at the time, so it's like bugs are outside and like, oh my god, like Luke Skywalker, here I am, Star Wars nerd again, like Luke Skywalker. I'm just slicing these cicadas in half, and then the second time I was married, had a house, like now they're just a nuisance. Now I'm like old
and grumpy.
Have a house, like you're gonna screw up my lawn. Like, we've got, it's what you saw came in, so like
so we live on a wooded lot, man. It's an acre, and our house is just wrapped in woods, so it's
you're gonna get destroyed. Let's play one more song as we kind of talk about cicadas on our way out.
Let's wrap up a year, man. Let's wrap up.
Spin one.
Okay, whatever you.
Let's go number 1, whatever it is. Number 1, and whatever it lands on.
91.
1991. Alexa, play the top song from 1991.
Playing Billboard songs from 1991.
This will be the top.
Oh, Bryan Adams.
From the movie
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Not to be confused with Robin Hood Men in Tights.
So, guy we used to work with, I asked him if he's ever watched Boys in the Hood. And his response was no, but I've seen Kids in the Hall.
Kids in yes. Not the same.
Okay.
Not the same. Ricky!
Yeah.
That was a culture shock movie there.
It
Boys
was.
It was like your first kind of introduction to
Don't know, don't show, don't care
care
what's going on in the hood.
That's it. And gosh, man, like
We got plenty of time to go back in time.
yes, true. And so, but we've also got time to kind of look forward.
Yeah.
Right. So we've been doing this show now for 15 weeks.
16. You went on vacation a week.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So there's a lot of stuff that we look to kind of do for this show, right?
Mhm.
And we have a ton of fun doing it. But honestly, we need a little bit of help. You know, we know that we have a road show coming up,
Mhm.
right? And that'll be disclosed at a later date. More than likely, at least 2 of them.
2 of them. Yeah.
Actually, 3. Now, the more that I think about that.
Okay.
We are looking for potential guests to do what the Nacho Man Richie Jones did, to come on.
Mhm.
Obviously, we've got our local legends program that we're plugging away at, right? So if you have a nomination for those local legends, we've received a couple nominations for those, and
Yep.
you know, we have a road show coming up in a few weeks. So if you have a place that you want us to highlight, or you think it'd be fun for us to be there, like, my goodness, like, send it to us, because we're open. Like,
100%.
I love being down here. It's you know,
We don't believe in the 60% full day. We believe in the 100% full day, and that's what we're trying to continue to do. So,
so if you have an idea or a person, or if you yourself want to come and join us, contact us at the Tom and Q Show. Hit the message button. Let us know how we can get in contact with you. Like, this stuff doesn't. A lot of times it happens kind of naturally. But we love other people coming on, other inputs, talking to other people.
yeah.
Like, having more fun than just you and I. So whether that's girl, guy, like, it don't matter. Like, whatever. And
Right.
we just like doing this, and we like having fun. So with that being said, we are 12:37, 1 hour 37 minutes. So
All right.
I think it's go time.
I think so.
So Robin Hood,
Men in tights.
Robin Hood Men in Tights, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, 1996.